Alright, so this is what's going on. Honestly, I don't know what the hell is going on. So when I decided to quit that job, I think my video, that was what it was called. It's called I Quit My Job. I was just kind of waiting it out, and that's what I've been doing for the past couple of years. Just like, alright, what am I gonna do next? During that time, I've been living in a house. I've lived there for 6.5 years. I found this house back only I think 6 months after I started my business. I was making quite a bit of amount of money, and a lot more than I'd ever made in my life. And I decided it was time to, get a bigger space to run this business. So I found this house. I was driving by it, and it was gorgeous, and it had a big for rent sign in the front of it, and it was right next to the beach and right next to a huge estuary, the Tijuana estuary. Just gorgeous. I mean, but I was down there, down deep. I was down right next to the border. You could see Mexico if you just walked across the street from my front door. So pretty wild. Last little beach town in California. And I saw this house, and I just ran in there immediately, and there were workers painting the walls, and I said, whose house is this? It needs to be mine. And the guy who was painting handed me a card, and it was for a property management. I went in there. They were like, wow, you don't really have a very long history of income, and you have terrible credit, but you have a lot of money in your bank account, so yeah, you can have the place. And they gave me the place. It was so expensive to move in. I think it was like $5,000 just for the first and last month's rent. At this point in time, I'm 25 years old. This is a lot of money for a single person that's used to just making a few $100 here and there, So I moved in, and I had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house right next to the beach to myself, and I fell madly in love with this place. And in the first year that I lived there, it was really easy to maintain on my own. After utilities and everything, I think it was about $2,500 a month that I was paying by myself, running my own company. And I lived right next to Coronado, amphibious base Coronado, where all the Navy SEAL teams are. So I was right down the strand from that, so I didn't have to really leave. So I didn't. When I decided to shut that business down, I kind of made my bubble even smaller by now at this point not leaving pretty much a mile radius of my house for about the last 2 years, taking my golf cart everywhere. I mean, the golf cart to the grocery store. Like I said, my friends lived on my street. I had my routine, going to the beach every day, a couple miles a day with the dogs. We were just living a good life, and I had built everything that I'd ever wanted. I had everything I wanted, everything. I really got attached to this house, and about 6 months after living in it, I fell so madly in love with the neighborhood and everyone around me and just everything, and I just thought, wow, I want to own this. So I thought, okay, I'll get down some, a little bit of rental history, and I'll show the banks that I was able to pay $2,500 a month by myself for a couple years. I continued to save my money. I had the down payment for the house at the time was valued at about $230,000. I saved about to be exact, $27,000 on an ATM card that I did not even activate, and I would just carry around this ATM card and just look at it and think oh, this is a down payment for my house. This was a house that I needed to own, and it was gonna be mine. That was it. So I made a phone call to the property management, and I asked them, I said, hey, I'd really like to start the process of maybe potentially buying this house. Can I get in contact with the actual owners of the house? And the property management pretty much just laughed at me, and he said, well, oh, you want to buy the house? And he said, get in line because we're buying it if the owners put it up for sale. That's a great rental property. Another year passed, and I was told, the property owners called me and they said, hey, if you're still interested in buying that house, it looks like the owners are about to pass away. We're no longer interested in it. We bought another place on Coronado. The owners pass away, and they end up putting the house in a trust and letting the kids inherit the houses. They had 8 houses all within a few blocks of each other, all rental properties. These people were just loaded. All paid off. Oh my God. I saw the value of that house continue to increase over the years. I just was like, well, it's actually kind of a good thing they're not selling it now, because even if they did, I can't afford it now. My $27,000 down payment can't afford it. Not to mention that down payment's now long gone. I had to spend that on lawyers for ways. So this guy passes away, and then supposedly a daughter inherits the property, and this just continues on for years. At that point, when I shut my business down, I had already given this house close to $150,000 by myself from the company I was running. It was painful. It was painful. But I knew that eventually they would sell that home one day, and if I could just write it out, I would own it. And unfortunately, I did everything. I did everything I could do, down to the point where, when the IRS was attacking me so bad last year and I was so incredibly broke, I knew that I had to just keep hanging on to that house because it would only be a matter of time until I figured out what it was I was going to do next in my life, and then I could actually, it's so hard to talk about. And I knew that it was just a matter of time until I would figure it out, and when I did figure it out, I would be prepared. And when they finally would sell that house, it would be mine. And so I rented out all of the rooms. I turned the garage into a bedroom. They knew, the property management knew that I was doing all of this. They knew I was waiting for the owners to put it up for sale. My judgment wasn't on point with the very last person that I rented it to, and he just turned out to be a complete psychopath and was just doing everything in his power to make everyone's life complete hell around him, and for no reason. One particular neighbor called my property management and let them know that the cops were there all the time and all this stuff. Anyways, property management called me, told me I had to go, and it was devastating. Devastating. And I did everything to convince them to let me stay. and it was hard because I felt like if I could just talk to the owners of the house, they would let me stay, but I'm dealing with a property management that has no emotional attachment to anything. They're just money, you know, they're just in a business. So the last conversation I had with the property management was with the owner's wife. We were close a little bit. I mean, they were nice. They knew everything. I was transparent with these people. I had a conversation with her, begging her on the phone, please, please, I will get this guy out of the house. I will do everything I can to just be able to afford it on my own again. I will do whatever I have to do. Just don't kick me out, you know? And she said, okay, let me talk to my husband. And she hung up the phone. And literally the next day I came home and there was a 60-day notice on my door. So I hired a lawyer and I went to court and I tried my hardest to fight for more time to leave. They were asking me to pack up 6.5 years of living somewhere in 60 days. In California, in the very beginning of summer, like, so I didn't get that much more time. I got another 20 days, but it really did help. And so as I was looking around at other places that I could go rent, I've got 2 dogs. I need space for the Bronco, like trying to flip trucks here, right? You know. You guys, I could go into a million reasons why I had to make this decision, but basically I had to make the decision to get out of California. I am not going to be able to build the lifestyle that I now want in California. I so badly want to be able to express myself creatively, and I need space to be able to do that, and I need time, and if in order to be able to afford that kind of space to do that in California, I would be spending all of my time working a job hourly probably to be able to afford it, and I just can't do that anymore. Or I could try to find another home and build out the garage again and rent out all the rooms and do it that way. But after my experience of the past year of having to be a property manager, it's just, that's a full-time job in itself. I can't do it anymore. I'm tapped out. There's got to be a place that ideally I could purchase, like a place under $100,000, and I could go and just a piece of land, and I could like literally drive my Bronco in an RV, park the RV, and then slowly start building out of the RV, you know, and just build a huge compound. I could go into a million reasons why I had to make this decision, but basically I had to make the decision to get out of California. I am not going to be able to build the lifestyle that I now want in California. I mean, I could do anything. I take that back. I could if I wanted to. The thing is, I don't want to. It's the sound of walking away. It's the sound of walking away. Afraid to make a single sound. Afraid I will never find a way out. Afraid I'd never be found. I don't wanna go another road. Tripwires build this house with tiptoe love. Run out of excuses for every word. So here I am and I will not run. It's been this up and down thing of like Bronco and trailer or RV. Bronco and trailer or RV. And I bought this fucking RV. I put my Bronco up for sale yesterday and somebody came to look at it. While he was looking at it, I was getting like really bad anxiety, and I was thinking like, this isn't a good idea. I think that I should get a trailer and pull it behind the Bronco. What am I doing with this RV?